Hello everyone, and welcome back to Sonic 3D Flickies Island on the Sega Saturn. I am one well sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start off by tackling the second zone of the game, Rusty Ruin. And oh my god, this music is amazing. Well, obviously invincibility's the extra life cut it out, but that's beside the point. I love this song. I love the soundtrack in this level. The background music in this stage is absolutely phenomenal. And while I do prefer the Mega Drive soundtrack overall, there are a couple of songs that I prefer in the Sega Saturn version of the game, and this is one of the songs I prefer. This song is just so damn good. And one of the things I really do like about the Sega Saturn version of the game, in particular in terms of soundtrack as well, is every song is also a remix of the main theme song of the game, which I love that. I love when games do that. Now the thing is, it's not ultra obvious that it's a remix unless you really, really intently listen to the soundtrack, which I appreciate. You know, it's kind of like Super Mario World in that regard, where every song in Super Mario World was actually a remix of the title theme, even if sometimes it didn't even feel like it. I love it when games do that sort of thing. I don't know. It adds an overall theme, I think, to the game. But anyway, in this particular zone, we do have little pirouetting, spinny platforms that we need to jump on, which will allow us to spin into enemies and boot them, releasing the Flicky inside, and breaking open certain pillars. For example, these pillars right now that allow us to go towards Tails. So whenever you see those pirouetting, spinny platforms, is usually pretty damn recommended in order to grab onto those, jump onto those, and start dancing your way like a ballerina. You know, Sonic likes to invest his time into the ballerina dancing on his spare time, you know, folks. Everyone's got to have a hobby, I suppose. But yeah, this is some more of the special zones I was talking about. Now, as I mentioned previously in the previous parts, they have added a little bit of platforming sequences to these special zones, and it's around this point where we start to see these platforming sequences. They're multi-layered, so you can jump up at certain points to collect extra rings. You can, whenever you're going down slopes, you can actually curl up into a ball and start spinning down a slope to gain extra speed, which is actually a really good thing to do if you know the layouts of these special stages properly. Because if you curl into a ball and you start spinning down the slope as quick as possible, you'll notice that every now and then we'll come across checkpoint gates that have a little timer on them. Now, I did sort of mention this briefly in the previous part, but depending on the time on those gates when you hit them, you'll get a bonus of however rings it says on the gate. For example, if you're fast enough on this one, I would have gotten 15 rings if I was quicker, for example. Instead, I only got 10 rings. It's a neat little mechanic, and I dig it. It gives you a little incentive to try and go fast, which I appreciate. But you don't have to worry about the special zones being too quick, and you're pretty much guaranteed to always have a ring bonus whenever you go through those gates. So you don't need to curl into a ball. You don't need to risk getting clipped by the bombs. You know, you can go at a normal pace if you so choose, which I appreciate. And there's one thing you are not seeing in this playthrough, folks, that I've already skipped past like 10 times. Loading times, ladies and gentlemen. This game is chock full of really, really long loading times. Like, for me to get from this zone to the special stage, it takes about 20 to 30 seconds. To get back, it takes about 20 to 30 seconds. To get to the results screen of the special zone, it takes around 10 to 15 seconds. So I am cutting out all of the load time in this one, folks. Obviously, the Mega Drive version doesn't have the load time issue, but that's one thing this version of the game does have, which really does drag down the experience. And this is something that Sonic games aren't particularly good with even in the future. They're not very good when it comes to load times. So whenever we come across a Sonic game in the future that has particularly long load sequences, I will be cutting out the loading sequences. So if you don't like Shadow the Hedgehog for loading times on PS2 version, well, I won't be tackling the PS2 version, so you won't have to worry about that. But I'll cut out load times, you know, if they're too long. Sonic Heroes, I won't be, because the Sonic Heroes load times are quite quick. But Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast, the load times on that are ridiculous, so I'll be cutting them out in the future, folks. And Sonic 06, I don't even need to... I'll probably just leave the load times in just to spite everyone in that game, because if I'm suffering with that LP, I'm making you all suffer with me. Can't be that cruel, but... yeah, Sonic 06 is going to be interesting. But now we have access to a fire shield. Much like in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, we get a fire shield. We will be able to be protected from fire-based damage, as you would expect. However, unlike in Sonic 3 and Knuckles, the fire shield doesn't allow us to do jump dash. It doesn't allow us to speed run our way through areas. So don't expect us to be Don't expect to be sent flying by pushing the jump button the second time. Sonic doesn't have any particular shield powers with the exception of the golden shield and the homing attack in this particular game. So, yeah, do not fret about that. And also the blue shield, the standard shield you get, there is one extra bonus. There's a bonus power to that shield that not many people ever really bring up when LPing this game. Now, I'll talk about that bonus extra power whenever I get to a level where it's relevant. Because in this particular level, it's useless. But, you know what? I'm foreshadowing things in this LP, folks. Very poorly, some might argue, but I'm foreshadowing things. But anyway, this zone, on your first time playthrough, you might have a little bit of trouble trying to figure out the correct way to go, and especially in Act 2. Act 2 you can quite easily get lost, but if you follow this LP as like a walkthrough, you should be able to find your way just fine, so there is that. I love this music, it's so relaxing. And these weather effects are not in the Mega Drive version either, ladies and gentlemen. These weather effects, like the fog and the rain that you see on screen, these are exclusive to the Sega Saturn version of the game. And I don't think they're even in the PC version. Like, the PC version has the graphics of the Saturn version, but some effects are missing. And I don't know why. I don't quite understand why they're missing. But the PC version of the game is a load of rubbish anyway, so you shouldn't be playing that version. You should be playing either Mega Drive version or this version. That's what I recommend. But yeah, like I said, this particular act, you can easily find yourself getting lost. You can easily lose your way. So, yeah. And we're also going to be doing a lot of tricksy platforming in this one, folks. They do have platforming mechanics in this particular zone. So, if you don't like platforming, well, tough titties, you're going to be doing isometric platforming. But don't fret, there are ways to basically skip past all of the platforming sequences, which not many people really think about doing, I've noticed when I've watched LPs. When I watch people play this game, they never really think about doing such a basic and simple thing that will skip the platforming, which I will be showing. But yeah, using your pirouette spin thingy, go down here, and if you see that wall there, we can actually spin dash through that wall, and that will lead us to Knuckles the Echidna. So yeah, if you can't find a special zone, here's one entrance right away. And as I said, there are multiple entrances in each act. You know, you have multiple attempts to be able to get one Chaos Emerald, which I like. I do like. It's all fine and dandy. What can I tell you? But one thing I haven't really talked about properly is the Flickies, the birds that we're collecting. Basically, the Flickies, in terms of plot, Eggman's trying to capture these Flickies and make use of their cosmic dimensional powers, because the Flickies can access these interdimensional rings. If we jump into these interdimensional rings, then, well, obviously pathways and whatnot open up, and Eggman's trying to harness this power, hence why he's kidnapping the Flickies and turning them into badniks. I don't know what he hopes to achieve by turning them into badniks, because that just makes them slaves. But, I don't know, I didn't write the plot of this. In fact, there's actually a cutscene in the Mega Drive version that is not available in the Sega Saturn version that does explain the plot. In the Sega Saturn version, you do sort of need to go to the instruction manual to read up on what's going on, what Eggman's plans this time around is. Not that the fine details really matter. I mean, all the Sonic games really have one basic thing, at least in the classic series. Eggman's kidnapping animals, turn them into robots, stop him. That's basically what the plot is, but, you know, you never know the motivations of why he's doing it. In this game, they highlight the reason why. So he's trying to manipulate these birds, he's trying to take advantage of the rings that are on this island to use his dastardly schemes and build his ultimate weapon. Will we see this so-called ultimate weapon later down the line? Maybe, maybe. don't know why. It's not really an ultimate weapon Eggman standards, so it's a pretty naff weapon, let's be honest. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, one thing about the Flickies that we do rescue, there are different colored Flickies that we can rescue from the badniks, and each of these different colored Flickies all have their own unique behaviors depending on which color that you pick up. For example, the red Flickies we've already seen in part 1, they jump about the place. They are fucking... I don't like the red Flickies. The red Flickies are pure evil. They jump about ecstatically, and you need to try and collect them by jumping into them. Red Flickies are not fun. Then you have the green Flickies that actively try to run away from you, and they confuse me. Because they're basically these fat little pudgy Flickies that just move away from you. And the only thing every time I'm trying to chase them around, I'm just sitting here like, don't you want to be rescued? Why are you running away? Do you like being Eggman's slaves or something? That makes no sense. Ugh. But then, of course, you also have the blue Flickies, which will automatically move into Sonic whenever you boop one of his badniks. So the blue Flickies are they're the most normal Flickies of the game. You know, they're the calmest one. They're the ones that do the logical thing and go, hey, he saved us. Maybe he'll help us get to our home. So yeah, the blue Flickies are the only smart Flickies in this game. And then there's the purple Flickies. I can't exactly remember their characteristics. I think they they kind of try to go back to you, but they're not. I don't know what the purple Flickies nonsense. I probably need to look this up. In fact, I probably need to look up a lot of these things I'm saying about Flickies, because I'm going by memory here, and I could be misinformed. But I do know for a fact the red Flickies are an annoying pain in the ass that jumps about randomly with no set pattern, and you need to pick those up. I don't like the red Flickies. Ugh. Anyways, a bit of an interesting platforming mechanic by here. What we need to do is we need to go up the slope. Obviously, the slope is too steep for Sonic to flat out run up normally. So we need to try and jump up the slope, and at certain points these slabs will pop out, these bouncy slabs. And you just basically need to bounce on the bouncy slabs in order to bounce your way up. And that was a platforming challenge I just sort of completely screwed up, so that can happen. So you can find yourself failing platforming challenges, but no fret when you do fail the platforming challenges, because in this particular game, platforming challenges aren't... There's no bottomless pits, you know, there's no major punishment for failing a platform challenge, other than having to redo the challenge later down the line. For example, by here, you just bounce off the spring, whoop-de-doo. But yeah, there are no bottomless pits in this game. You don't have to worry about that, which I'm thankful for, because this is a game based around exploration. If they have an exploration-based game, or game with a large focus on exploration, that has loads of bottomless pits, you know, I would freak out and I would get frustrated. Sonic Advance 2? Sonic Advance 3? Sorry. I got a very bad cold. I really don't like it whenever they do exploration focus games, but they put pits in, because you're going to want to jump downwards, you're going to want to look around, but no, there's a pit sometimes. But anyway, the game expects you to do platforming across these platforms, but you don't really have to. What you can do is you can either do a spin dash jump, or you can just run underneath and around the area just to get by. So you know, you don't actually have to do a lot of this platforming. There are usually ways to skip it. And in the instances where there's no ways to really skip the platforming, you can just do a spin dash jump and skip the whole thing just by jumping over the bloody thing. So, you know, the platforming isn't as bad as a lot of people give it credit for. You know, a lot of people complain that the platforming is awful and it's damn near impossible to figure out what ways you're meant to go, and it's not that bad. It really isn't. The only thing that really is a big issue is your first time playing, when you will get lost. Because you will get lost playing this game the first time. At least if you play the game like I did when I was a wee lad. Anyway, I for years I couldn't beat this game just because I kept getting lost in this particular zone. Yeah, that's right, I got lost in this zone. But one of the things I do love about the Saturn version, I don't think is in the Mega Drive version, there is a map. They have added in a map. So if you press pause, you can actually see the map pop up on the screen, and you can, well, you can use that to figure out where to go next. What can I say? But there we go, that is the end of this act. Just used all the flickies to break open the ring, and it's time to fight the next boss fight of the game. And if you're playing on the Mega Drive version, this boss fight in particular has probably my favourite boss track in... one of my favourite boss tracks of the entire franchise. It's an amazing boss track. In this particular game, all the boss themes are exactly the same, save for the final boss, which is a bit disappointing. But the Mega Drive version, the boss track of Rusty Ruin, trust me, check it out. Just Google, YouTube the boss fight, and you'll see. Actually, I do have footage on my hard drive of the Mega Drive version, so I could probably splice it in, but... now, that adds extra video time, I'm pretty sure. If you guys really want to watch that, you can go check it out yourselves, so... because that would take literally 10 seconds of me chucking it. I got the clips all easily sorted and whatnot. But that's beside the point. Oh, it'll take a little bit longer than 10 seconds because I'll need to scroll through the video slowly. But that's, you know what I mean. Anyway, for this boss fight, to fight him, he will slam his paw on the ground. He just jump on the paw and then jump into his cockpit and avoid the energy balls he pops out of his stomach. And that is it for the boss. Easy boss fight. Can't complain too much about that one, actually. It's quite a fun battle. But there we are, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for this part. So thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people. And I'll catch you all next time in Zone 3. Bye!